Hello, everyone, and welcome to Elevate Your Business. I'm Ed Jareck, and I'm thrilled to guide you to today's episode. Thank you for joining us and making this part of your entrepreneurial journey. Elevate Your Business is crafted for business owners, professionals, and budding entrepreneurs eager to gain practical wisdom and insights. During each episode, we tap into the experience of those who have navigated the path of success in their businesses and lives, aiming to equip you with the tools you need to thrive. Today's guest personifies this mission. So make yourself comfortable, unwind, and let's extend a hearty greeting to our incredible guest today, Mark Amell. Mark is a seasoned computer programmer with nearly 40 years of experience and has been instrumental in pioneering the internet and bringing AI to the military. Mark now dedicates his expertise to helping small businesses thrive with custom software solutions and innovative marketing strategies. As Mark joins us on the show, he'll shed light on what success means to him personally and how his definition has evolved over time, as well as one or two of his top challenges and the lessons learned associated with them. And finally, for today, we'll explore how Mark has leveraged innovation in his business and other work to overcome challenges and achieve his goals. So join me in welcoming Mark Amell as we embark on another incredible episode of Elevate Your Business. And without further ado, welcome to the show, Mark. It's wonderful to see you again. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on your show.
It's my pleasure and my honor. We've known each other for 6, 8 months now. I think that's when we first met. I've been following your work and we've stayed in touch a bit. And I just love what you do. So to start with, could you share a little bit more about yourself and your business?
I'll give you the short history. I've had a home business for 35 years. I started out as an Air Force officer. I brought the first artificial intelligence program to the military, which I'm quite proud of. I get to watch Google grow up and what they do and why they do it. And it's always good to play nice with the bear, not poke it too much. So 8 years ago, I met a guy that had to sell his business and found out it wasn't worth anything and just hit me kind of hard. And I decided I wanted to find out why that happened and how I could provide a service and help these small businesses reach their peak and have a retirement. So I spent 5 years and about $70,000 working with the top marketing gurus around the world. And I created a system of over 30 areas of internet market that work together. And that is how I'm able to provide a low cost, high return system for small businesses. I offer free marketing classes. I offer some free consultations. But my goal over the next 10 years is to help 1,000 small businesses. And having people like you help me get the word out is much appreciated.
My pleasure. Absolutely. So to start with, today, how do you define success?
Success for me is watching a small business grow and trusting me, staying with me. For my software business, I have customers from before the year 2000. They joined me on that calendar flip, and it's because I take care of them first. And I've always had this philosophy that money will follow if you take care of your customers.
Makes a lot of sense. So the journey to where we're at today and how we define success today is never an easy path. So to start with, how has your definition of success changed over your journey?
Don't think it's changed a whole lot in that you have to take care of your customers and the rest seem to fall in place. There's a lot of changes in technology, but being a computer engineer, I have to learn it, stay in touch with things. But the first step is really take care of your customers. It costs you 5, maybe 10 times as much to get a new customer as to keep an old one happy. But people neglect, they get that money and they're like, okay, let's go get the next sale. And that is going to make your business very difficult.
Going back to what we were talking about a few minutes ago, which is the challenges through our journeys, what are one or two of your key challenges that you've encountered, and how have you overcame them?
Well, being a small business, having enough money to raise a family, growing a business from home, having that work-life balance, I've had the same challenges that every small business has, setting their priorities. in the same light as taking care of your customers, if you focus on making each customer that you pick up a 10-year customer, that's how I overcome the challenges, making sure I'm taking care of them. When we all start out, you got to pay the mortgage or the rent or whatever. We take these short-term deals that bite us in the long term. They take a lot of energy. Somebody wants something for nothing. We've all gone through that. Picking that right customer, being honest, walking into a win-win situation, not taking something, even if it benefits you, because it's going to hurt your reputation. They're going to eventually say, well, this wasn't worth it. They got a friend that tells them that you paid too much. And that reputation is so important. I've been rich, I've been poor, but my reputation has always been good.
Outstanding. I like that a lot. Any other key challenges and lessons learned you'd like to share with our audience?
Having mentors, you have to be able to have somebody that's smarter than you in different areas so that you can talk to somebody that you trust. When I was reading Think and Grow Rich, I read a story about Henry Ford. He was taken to court to get him kicked out of Ford. But after he goes, Judge, after listening to all these silly questions, I have a board across my desk with all my trusted advisors. If I don't know an answer to a question, I know what button to flip and I get the right person in, and the judge dismissed the case. The rest is history. But I've always been not afraid to ask questions and get feedback. I think that's important. People want to hide because they don't want to give a wrong impression to a person that they don't know what they're doing. Well, it doesn't mean you don't know, just means you don't know everything, but you're smart enough to ask the right questions.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Matter of fact, we've talked several times on this show, and of course, I've had many other conversations around the value of win-win-win. And that third win is employees and staff, but it's also strategic partners, not just vendors. Vendors are transactional. Partners are maybe a little bit more. But many years ago, I really defined the strongest relationships as strategic partners and really look for those right people, those right organizations to be that complement to help fill in those gaps. So when you reflect on that, how does that align with your approach?
Now, I couldn't remember what the third win was, so thank you for sharing that with me. But I very much believe in that. Some of my, well, we're both on Alignable, and that's where we met. And right now, I'm getting more money from referrals than I am from direct connections. So having that right person so you don't fail. I have a person that does Google Ads because he's better at it than I am. I have a lot of referral partners that are digital marketing agencies, and you would think that would be competition, but there's so many areas that if they do a couple better, that's great. I turn that over and I can help more people.
I love and share that philosophy. There are thousands of coaches out there, and I am aligned with you. I don't view them as competitors as much as we each have our own niche, we each have our own approach, we each have our own types of expertises. So how can we partner? And I actually have several different partnerships with different coaches out there that complement my own skills and capabilities. So I love that thought. So moving the conversation to innovation, and this one here is a lot of fun because you are a technologist and you spend a tremendous amount of resource, energy, investment into your business. So how has technology enabling you today?
The technology moves so fast. When I started, I didn't have a cell phone. They were just starting to come out. I used to spend a lot of time and money driving around the Southeast, getting customers, helping my customers. And now I can hop onto Zoom, talk to people. I can make contracts with people across the country, across the world. And that was not really that possible. I remember mailing discs, for my software to put in patches. You'd have to explain to that person that, okay, press these buttons, but don't press that one because you're going to blow something up. And I think you can help people better. You can do a better job at keeping them up. It's easier to implement changes in their software. People are becoming more technology aware because they have to for their business. So sometimes they're asking the harder questions, and you have to be that much smarter to make sure that you give the right answers. I get questions all the time from people that I read this, or it used to be that my friend is a data entry person from IBM or my second cousin or whatever, and they told me this. Now it's I read this on the internet. I watched this YouTube video. Is this true or not? I get a lot of questions about AI coming from the beginning, and I try to explain to them that there's three pieces to AI. There's the user interface, there's the database, where's the data coming from? But there's also a profiling element to it. With AI, they can come up and analyze who you are so that they can get 10,000 people that fit the same profile, and these are the decisions they made. There's so many softwares coming out that are a database lookup that says, oh, we're AI, just because that's the hot button right now. So technology growing is good and bad in that it can take advantage of people. So coming from an AI background, that kind of makes me sad that all these people are taking advantage of people.
I understand that wholeheartedly. And of course, the speed in which this AI revolution period is taking place. And again, one of the conversations on the show that we've had multiple times is the fact that AI has been around for quite a period of time. Matter of fact, I worked with one of the very early neural networks, a company called HNC Software that no longer exists, back in the mid 1990s. So today, as we've gone through this last 18 months, 2 year period in which it's on everybody's desktop, everybody's phone, everybody's digital device someplace, it's really transformed that world. And we seem to be in the middle of this revolution, this quandary of where is it ultimately going to fit? How is it ultimately going to fit? But at the same time, with all the cautions out there relative to fears and concerns around AI, there's this need to embrace it in order to stay competitive. And we both share a passion relative to helping small and mid-sized businesses compete against the Goliaths out there. So, any thoughts relative to this revolution, how best to really embrace it, keeping in mind the challenges associated with the security risks and stuff like that?
I think it's a good thing, but you have to have caution. You can't copy and paste an answer. There's been so many lawsuits. Italy shut down ChatGPT for months because of privacy data. They were grabbing everything to keep up with the flow. I think things are going to change drastically, maybe at the end of this year, beginning of next year, when Google Bard comes out, full version of it, because Google's got the biggest database. They've got a ton of money to put behind it. And this is following the same path as when the internet browsers first came out. Google watched what AOL, Yahoo, and then it came out with such a superior product, it took over. And Google have been doing searches for people for a long time. They have that database that everybody's looking at. They're connected to Amazon to see people's buying habits. So I'm looking at the tools, what it can do, but I'm waiting until Google comes out and eventually takes over the AI world.
Do you
But
have
you
any
have to,
insights relative to what Bard will do for people, for businesses?
I think it's going to make it a lot more structured. If you want to do articles, if you want to do whatever you're looking for, there's been pieces out for a long time, Jasper writing Word documents, but I think Google's going to incorporate that and give you one place to go. I think that's why it's taking them so long. They didn't want to just rush and try to go head to head. They want to take over.
And there are some apps out there that are attempting to do that today, and some of them have made great strides. One that I use is called Perplexity, and fully referenceable. You can move straight into graphics recommendations, etc. So I found that tool to be incredibly valuable in my work. So it's going to be really interesting to see what Google does come up with, because these other players out there aren't sitting still either.
No, they're still running, but they're fighting challenges in that they don't have the number one database, and they're still fighting people's misconception. The lawyer went to court and had AI generate his case for him, and the references weren't right. You know,
Ooh, ouch.
yeah, that was not really good. The judge was not happy with that. But there's also been lawsuits, somebody will copy and paste an article from AI, and the person that they ChatGPT took it off their website was suing them for copyright infringements. So I think the whole world of copywriting has to be defined maybe a little bit better too.
Yeah. And I know there's a lot of universities considering and being challenged by those types of issues as well.
There was students that came in with the homework, but now there's software to say this is probably written by AI.
Yeah.
And Google is using that, and it's going to take away brownie points. So if you think you want to get on the first page of a search engine and you're copying it, it's not going to happen. You're fighting against the stream.
Matter of fact, I just got the last couple of days something from someone at LinkedIn, and they're coming out with software that may already have at least partially in place that actually identifies what and how much of your work is actually coming from AI. It'll be interesting to understand those rules and more definitively because I use AI all the time and I never just grab an article and post it per se, but I do use pieces and parts through it. So what's the boundary associated with that? And at what point is it considered copyright infringement? I think there's a lot of different things to actually work through.
I tell people to use it for outlines and then fill in your own words. I had this one lady that she was born a French Canadian, and she wanted her papers to sound in proper English because her first language was French. And I told her, if you get AI to write it, you're going to give an impression on that person that's reading it and they want to talk to you. You've already lost trust because they know you didn't write that. So be who you are. Don't try to take the shortcuts. You've got to speed up some, but I think using an outline is going to help you speed up some without just copying and pasting.
Yeah. It's awesome for frameworks and outlines and drafts and things like that. But final work ultimately is ours, especially the more complex that work is. I can help inform bits and pieces of it, but it cannot do a great job at writing a book end to end, for example. But there are tools out there that will do that. But like you said, there's a whole lot of risk on the backside of that. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. I know NIST, National Institute of Standards and Technology, they've come out with a set of rules. I know that there's legislation already occurring in the States. Legislation has already been introduced in Europe around the use of AI. And that's only a foundational part of it because what is still out there and open is the people that don't care about the rules and the cyber criminals and stuff like that that are going to leverage it any way they want. But at least having a foundation rule set and which judgment can be applied as what someone is doing appropriate or not, those are coming much faster than it did as we started to move from the analog into the digital age back 20, 25 years ago. Any thoughts around that?
No, I think it's all settling down. That whole process, just like when the browsers came out, it's got to settle into a standard, and whether it's enough of a deterrent not to get on first page of Google or a deterrent not to get sued. I mean, you can go into and steal somebody's writing by copying it off their website. But do you do that? You have to live with the consequences. And I think as they start upping the consequences, a long time ago, they didn't have the AI police. They could come out and tell you that you're doing it wrong as quick as you can now. So the consequences are going to come a lot quicker.
It's going to be really
And
interesting to see how this evolves, isn't it?
yeah, and you have to be responsible for yourself. All these people that are, oh, I'm not going to do this because I don't want the internet to know who I am or not. That's kind of past. You can learn about somebody. There's
Yeah.
AI tools out that analyze your LinkedIn profile to tell you what kind of person you are, what your priorities are. so you can send them the right message. So unless you want to live out in the country with no internet, it's going to be hard for you to hide who you are. People need to work a little bit more on who they are and just being true to yourself. I mean, when I got my more than top secret clearance, I was afraid to jaywalk. I didn't want to get called in front of the commander. But I think it's more anything that goes out there. You can tell what you bought last week at the grocery store if you're a vegan or not, and you start getting emails. It's going to get crazy.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. Any other thoughts relative to where innovation is taking your business into the future?
It's causing me to work. It's causing me to spend 8, 10 hours a week keeping up with it so that we can take advantage of the technology for a small business. Just like when you get a stock tip, you want to get on the upswing, right? You want to do that for the small businesses too and not do anything to hurt them. So I think it's going to be a constant change as far as where it's going. A lot's going to be automated, but you have to know where you're at and what to use for it, what not to use anymore. So I think the technology is just going to be more of a big brother than people 5 years ago felt uncomfortable with.
Again, I think it's going to be a very interesting future to see how all of this manifests itself and what the impacts are, but it is going to wind up changing behavior. And what we don't know is the outcome of that law of unintended consequence. What is that going to really look like? Final thoughts. So, if there was one key takeaway that you would offer our audience that they really must consider as part of their entrepreneurial journey, what would that be?
I would say don't make quick decisions when you're setting up your marketing. Get the help. Don't believe all the sales pitches. There's people out there trying to make money and there's people out there trying to help. It sounds a little bit self-serving, but I've helped thousands of small business so far in helping them pick the right thing and get on the path, offering free classes, but even ask me, say, I want to buy this. What do you think of it? I have no problem telling you. I can't tell you how many softwares I've tried, and maybe you're going to find something that I like too, but just don't jump on the deep end because you don't have the time. You're going out, some salesperson talks you into this, and then 3 months later you regret it. So get the help, whether it's from me or somebody else, but get the good answers. I do want to talk about marketing if you don't mind me taking another
Please.
minute.
Go ahead.
There's 3 pieces, and this is why I can tell where marketing is not working for a company. There's 3 pieces. There's what I call a foundation. It's, can people find you? Can they get that know, like, and trust from your websites, from your profiles, those type of things. Then there's a sales funnel that you get all these leads. You put out a post and somebody wants to take it to the next step. I put that into a sales funnel because you want to manipulate that until they feel comfortable talking to you. And what that does is it makes you not take 100 phone calls to get the 3 people that you want to talk to. It makes it get you 20 or 10, and then you get that 3 once you tweak that. And then there's a CRM, and all that is once you make contact, you're talking to somebody, it's all the follow-up. People are so busy right now, if somebody doesn't buy the first time they talk to them, they drop on the floor. But one of the things in today's world is you need to talk to somebody 6, 7 times. So always do that follow-up. Always stay in touch with your customers with some value. And that is what I see is falling on the floor. I had a quick example. I had a guy come detail my car and he did a great job. He sends me a coupon every month. I know where to find him. I had a guy fix my garage door, do a great job on my front yard, but I've never heard from them and I can't find them. So I can't refer them. I can't get more business. So do the follow-up. So those 3 pieces, everybody says, oh, we just need a CRM. And I says, well, where are you going to find the leads to put into the CRM? Oh, well, that's not part of it. Then why are you spending your whole budget on just a CRM?
Makes a lot of sense. Thank you for those insights.
I guess that was it.
No, I think that's wonderful. Matter of fact, I'm sitting here reflecting, okay, did I do that? Do I do that? So I appreciate it very much.
I had this one I put out and I says, I can tell you where your marketing's not working in less than 15 minutes. And it's usually one of those areas. They'll find a name, you put a nice post and they they put it into the search engines, but they can't find you to find out if you're real or not. Or they have some obtuse get rich 1234 at Gmail. Okay, what does that mean? That looks not real. Maybe it is, but you have to prove it.
Thank you so much for that. Any final thoughts?
I guess that's it, except for thank you for having me here. I appreciate you letting me get out to your adoring public.
Well, I appreciate it very much. It is absolutely my pleasure. And I thank you all for joining us today, and a special thank you to our incredible guest, Mark Amell, for sharing his insights, experiences, and success tactics with us. We hope this conversation has left you inspired and motivated to embrace the challenges of entrepreneurship with vigor, innovation, and adaptability. Remember, success comes in many forms, and it's essential to define it for yourself. Take the lessons shared by Mark to heart as you navigate your own entrepreneurial journey. Embrace change, seek out opportunities for growth, and always be willing to adapt to the ever-evolving landscape of business. Thank you once again to our phenomenal guest, Mark Amell, and thank you all for tuning in. We look forward to seeing you next time as we continue exploring the stories behind incredible entrepreneurs. Stay resilient and stay innovative, and have a wonderful day, everybody.
Bye.